In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look at a roller coaster of a temperature pattern, a roller coaster of a storm pattern, as well as there's going to be plenty of thunderstorms, severe weather, snowstorms, ice storms, cold weather, warm weather. It's just going to be all over the place today. So let's take a look first off at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here from the Climate Prediction Center. And what we see is largely a warmer central and eastern states, except for the northeast here, where we do have some below normal temperatures prevailing. And then out west, we do see plenty of cold also taking place. Now, this might look like a purely cold in the west, warm in the east pattern, but I really don't see it that way, and I don't think that the Climate Prediction Center does either. So when we look at the model guidance, it'll become a little bit clearer later on. When we look at the precipitation, though, we do expect a lot of lows to form here, either over the western Gulf or over Texas. And these systems will move largely just kind of like directly northward. Some of them will curve eastward here towards the mid-Atlantic. A lot of them just rising up. And this will create kind of like a showery thunderstorm corridor in this area across a lot of the southeast. And then large question marks here for snowfall across a lot of your north central and northeastern states. We'll be watching that very closely. The northwest also seeing a nice little uptick in the precipitation. 8 to 14 day outlook does look a little bit more dramatic. I still don't see it as purely warm in the east, purely cold in the west, but it is going to lean that way. We do see cold, especially across the northwest into kind of the plains here. And then we see a lot of warmth moving up the eastern states, which is really going to be indicative of still storms moving up through here. And they're going to look like this, feature a warm front that pulls the warm air up, and they will have cold fronts underneath that likely pull some of this cold air into this more neutral area at times. Let's take a look at the precipitation pattern during this time frame. And again, the storms kind of rising up through these areas is going to be the primary threat, and also some storms moving over top through the northwest. These are going to be your two main storm tracks, and that's where a lot of our precipitation is going to be found. Not a lot of systems moving through the southwest, though, as a result. As we just take a look at the past 20 days here, we could see a brutally cold look for a lot of your central and eastern states here. The lighter blues is going to be purely below normal to pretty well below normal in some of the medium blues, but the dark blues into the greens is going to be far below normal over the past 20 days. We are looking at temperatures 10 to 15 degrees below normal in many of these spots, and that is a huge departure from what's typical when we're looking at a full 20-day period here. This is a very long scale here to look at, and to be that far below average. Now let's just go ahead and move into some model guidance. We're going to start out with the European model today, and as we move towards later this evening, we can tell that there will be some snow showers across a lot of your northern Rockies. That's a central and northern Rockies, so the southern extent of it is going to be Colorado and Utah. Work your way northward, and there's going to be some widespread snow showers throughout that region. Also, the northern plains and upper Midwest. We do have a weaker low here across south central Canada. This is aiding and bringing some precipitation to the area. So in general, snow showers throughout this kind of northwest, north central portions of the nation. As we move towards tomorrow afternoon, it is relatively quiet. We have some of those snow showers now extending into the Sierra Nevada, as well as the rest of the southern or the central Rockies there. We do see the upper Midwest into the kind of Great Lakes area experiencing some of these snow showers. As we take a look at Sunday afternoon here on January 26th, we do see the beginning of some of these southeast, south central thunderstorms here taking place across states like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia here. We also have a storm system over Southern California, and this is obviously really good for the fires down there if we do get precipitation. Snowfall throughout the Sierra Nevada, overall a very beneficial storm. But for the most part, we're still dealing with above normal temperatures throughout the western areas of Canada, the United States here, and then we see throughout the north central states, as well as the northeastern states, we still have some cold air left over for Sunday. Monday is the first day where we're going to see this begin to largely change. This is going to be the 27th. We see that it's really this warmth that is pushing eastward across a lot of the central states now, and this cold looks to just kind of back off as that warm air intrudes in. We do see a relatively strong low here to the east of the Hudson Bay, bringing moderate to heavy snowfall throughout portions of eastern Canada there. As we keep going towards Tuesday, We do see that the overall warming trend continues as we see warm air pushing towards the Midwest. The eastern states here, still some relatively cold conditions the further north you go. And we do see neutral temperatures out west. I'd say it's overall warmer, but there is some colder temperatures along the southwestern states overall. Let's keep going. I want to take us towards Wednesday afternoon here on January 29th. What we see is a low located near the Adirondack Mountains, some snowfall for portions of the western mid-Atlantic into the northeast states overall, so New York and northern New England in general. So again, those Adirondack Mountains, states like Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, experiencing the heaviest snowfall from this system. Showers and thunderstorms could be widespread throughout portions of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and North Carolina by this point. So again, showers, if not thunderstorms, becoming a common trend here in the east. We do see an overall cooling trend by Wednesday. So the 29th could bring about some colder temperatures as we have this low here, a dragging cold front that could pull the cold air in for the most part. Thursday, because of that, will end up being a colder day in the east, most likely. But we do have another storm system starting out over this Texas area, the low pressure center trying to take place here. Over these regions, we do see snowfall for Arizona, New Mexico, and portions of the Texas Panhandle, and then showers and thunderstorms prevailing for portions of the rest of Texas. As we move towards Friday, we see this storm start to rise up, and at the same time, colder air diving southward for the west. This will bring storminess overall for the west, including snowfall for a lot of those mountains. But not only that, just colder conditions, and this is going to encourage warmth to really start to rise up throughout the central states and portions of the eastern states as a whole. This low is definitely going to aid in that, as it'll likely develop a warm front here. So let's see by Saturday, and yeah, we don't really have precipitation along it, but we have our low here. We have a dragging cold front here, and some sort of warm front trying to take place. We can tell because we have this really strong warm push up the eastern states to the east of that low. And again, this cold air is dragging in behind that cold front, not really meeting up with it as we have overall milder conditions here, but it did pull in some of the colder air further into the west. At the same time, we do deal with kind of a northern plains, upper Midwest snowfall event, perhaps here by Saturday, February 1st. More snow and rainfall taking place out west. And again, we end up with more thunderstorms once again for this deeper southeast corridor. As we move towards Sunday, the 2nd here, we see that this low kind of dissipates out here over the east, and we get another one taking form here. A little bit of a cold front dragging behind, definitely a warm front here. So we end up with showers likely in this corridor. Typically, warm fronts don't feature that much thunderstorm activity. It's warmer conditions moving into colder conditions, and typically you want to see colder conditions moving into warmth for more elevated thunderstorm risks. But we do see an area in here that I would say would be likely for thunderstorms to form. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi in particular, even Arkansas as well. Likely. We do see some pretty massive amounts of snowfall here for the Rockies and portions of the plains. As we keep going towards Monday afternoon, we see our low here over the Great Lakes. We see snowfall here for portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. A dragging cold front underneath where we have thunderstorm activity perhaps stretching as far northward as the mid-Atlantic if we see a setup like this for Monday on the 3rd. I want to keep going here because as we reach Tuesday, we see those thunderstorms don't really end. That low moves off and something interesting happens. We get this frontal boundary that kind of just separates from any low pressure system. So we have thunderstorms in this southeast region, no real parent low pressure system. And overall, we're dealing with very cold temperatures over a lot of the west and the plains here. And we get kind of this rising motion over the east, which is going to be indicative of overall warmth. For the afternoon of Wednesday, we end up with thunderstorms across the southeast. Again, colder in the west as well as kind of like the north central and northeast states. As we keep going from there, lo and behold, by Friday, we have another low kind of rising up northward with this jet stream right here. Not a super strong low, but we see ice, snowfall, even likely thunderstorms in this corridor here. Kind of like the southeast quadrant of the storm. Colder temperatures overall in the west, and really warm temperatures here for a lot of the east here by February 7th. We are a bit far out, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think that this is a likely outcome, especially when considering what the National Weather Service with the Climate Prediction Center has been predicting for the medium to long range. More snowfall out west happening on this frame as well. We have one more day to look at, and that's going to be Saturday. And it looks like we might be getting a cold push here through the north central states into a lot of the east, but it's hard to know for sure. Snowfall across most of Canada, and then a lot of the north central states as well. Some of the Great Lakes and northeast maybe getting some snowfall. Thunderstorms and showers across the deep south and Ohio Valley regions perhaps here by the 8th. But again, the further into this we get, like hours 360, the lower confidence we have. But I think an overall warmer push in the east will be much more likely. Colder push in the west, more likely by time of reaching the longer range. GFS model, I want to kind of look for some disagreement, but we probably won't find too much of it. We see overall a colder pattern turning warmer. We start to get these thunderstorm events across the deep south and deep, southeast states, especially here along the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of this February timeframe. We end up with this whole area seeing potential thunderstorms throughout that time period. Lots of snow in the west and north central states. And then as we keep going, we deal with a lot of the same. The southeast ridge is pretty persistent. More storms rising up from Canada with upper Midwest snowfall threats, as well as the Great Lakes there. That's a pretty massive one actually for the 6th, 5th, or 6th, 7th, and 8th. Definitely would be an impactful low. 985 there over the Great Lakes. So this would be a pretty massive snow system here for these more north central states. Really, really interesting. And we have thunderstorms showing up here for the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic, southeast for sure. So pretty interesting setup there we see for the Friday, the 7th time frame. We do end up with an eastern cool down right after this for the 8th, 9th. And equally so, we get a warm push here in the west. So I really don't think we're done entirely with the cold in the east for this winter. There is still remaining signs that we'll see cold moving back into the east for the most part for portions of February. And warmer pushes in the west will definitely help with that. We see snowfall across the Rockies, Cascades, and Sierra Nevada, so very stormy out there at the same time as well. Total precipitation here, we can see an elevated area along the west, especially when considering what we've dealt with, which is very dry conditions out there. This looks a lot more decent. And then we can see basically from the southern plains into a lot of the southeast, we're dealing with a lot of activity in here as well. Looking at the anomalies, it really reflects that. Not necessarily above average for the west, but still a step in the right direction. But a lot of the deep south into the central states dealing with far above average temperature or precipitation as we see storms moving through this area. And also as they're moving up, we get these dragging cold fronts that bring a lot of precipitation to the deeper south, like the Gulf states as well here. When we look at the total snowfall in the European model, I can't help but notice that we are seeing an elevating look across the central states, and we keep pushing every single day the snowfall in the east further and further northward here to where now we're seeing very, very kind of reclusive areas of snowfall that are just exclusive for the mountainous areas and very, very far corridors, northern corridors here of the eastern states. Much warmer look, and then the mountainous west really, really cashing in on plenty of snowfall here. The GFS model will quite agree. There's not really too much to look at that's different here. The plains, upper Midwest areas, this could be your time to shine if these models are correct, because we are seeing feet of snowfall over the next 2 weeks, according to both the European and GFS models. Again, the east, it's for the mountains and very far northern regions. Looking at the temperature pattern, we're very cold now, but we do have a warm up, especially for Monday here, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at that. The east is fully above normal there by that time frame. So about a week from now, we'll be much warmer. We do see Thursday, another cool down hits the east. We warm back up for the kind of Saturday, Sunday time frame, 1st and 2nd. But then we get another cool down for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame before we warm back up again. So just as we've been saying for the past week, revolving door, cool down, warm up, cool down, warm up, cool down, warm up. And this is going to bring a lot of stronger low pressure systems into the area as well. They ride along that jet stream as it's moving from west to east. Just super, super interesting. Very, very impactful to our pattern, because it's much more likely that we're going to see activity in this type of a temperature pattern than the stagnant, very cold look that we've dealt with for weeks now. GFS model is going to agree in a big way. We see cooler air persisting again through the end of the weekend, so Sunday and then Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday is a warming trend. Thursday, another backdoor cool down. So that's one warm up, one cool down. Second warm up here, and then second cool down is what we end up with. So that's 2 cooldowns and 2 warm ups within a 14-day period or 15-day period. Absolutely crazy stuff. And the end of this model run, I mean, we get back to this positive PNA look, which just means warmth in the west, and that almost always causes cold to move into the central and eastern states. If we move into anything sustainable with this type of a look, we could have another cold period that could last a week or two throughout February, which would be another interesting thing as well. Will February be our winter thaw where we finally see a warmer month here in the east, or will we have a third straight cold month? It's very, very up in the air, and I can't wait to find it out with you guys. So be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.